We're focusing on the security situation of the country in the light of so many comments being made, former leaders, senators, members of the House of Representatives, and we're joined in from our Abuja studios by Mr. Olatubosun Abolarinwa, who is a security consultant. Morning and thank you for joining us. Well, what jolted a lot of people when the Boko Haram sect offered to negotiate with the government. They came up with some is it recommendations or demands or key points, depending on the way people interpret it. And then add to that, the former leader who they had chosen to lead that negotiating team says, no way that's happening. And so it just keeps going back and forth. How do all of this affect the situation for you, from your perspective?
Okay. Thanks very much. Good morning to you. Firstly, I will want to commend the sect for coming out to make a demand. It's something we've been waiting for a very long time. The president has also asked them to lay what they want on the table, and thank God it's now coming out. I will also want to quickly point that negotiation is also part of how to deal with terrorism. So it's an important part of what we should expect to see. The demands they are going to be making, is something that we don't want to discuss here now, because that is strictly meant for the executive wing of the government, and sometimes they are sensitive demands. The only bit I'm a little bit worried and concerned about is the person they chose to lead their negotiation. That is in the person of Major General Muhammadu Buhari, retired. His response is a bit of a shock. I'm a little bit worried that while bombs are exploding all over the country, and the sect have seen you as the person they can use to negotiate with the government, I don't know why the offer is being turned down. I will want to wait for him to come out with more explanation as to why he thinks more lives should be lost before he can seize this opportunity. I totally understand that General Buhari is aspiring to become the president of this country one day. Being the president of this country, he could find himself in the same situation President Jonathan found himself today. And I don't know what his position or his response will be if somebody is identified to be the person to negotiate and to end the loss of lives and property. They turn it down.
Are you saying that he should represent a group he claims he doesn't know anything about, does not believe in their ideology or in their systems of operations?
I think those are two separate things. Representing the group is one thing. Knowing or supporting what they stand for is another thing. But in between those two attributes that I've laid out, one thing is static. Loss of lives and property is ongoing every minute. And any government or anybody who is aspiring to be a leader of any government should be willing to do something to stop the loss of life. You see, many of us, when we get into graveyards these days, something down on us, we keep quiet. Something tells us that one day we're going to be down 6 feet below. And that brings you to a realization to say, look, what's going to happen is there's an uncertainty end there. I don't know what he feels about the victims of various bomb blasts all over the country. For all we know, Boko Haram has changed their tactics. They claim that they will be bombing the northern states and Abuja. Now, the River Niger has been crossed to Kogi State about 6-7 weeks ago. I think that should send a signal to anybody. If I'm in the shoe of Major General Muhammadu Buhari, I will seize this opportunity to open a negotiation table. It's been done all over the world. Tony Blair is doing it on behalf of between the Israel and the Palestinian. And we have different envoys being sent by United Nations, ECOWAS to negotiate in various. General Obasanjo has done it in the Eastern Africa. I see no reason why it shouldn't take this opportunity and let us have something on the table to discuss. Let us know what they want. One thing is to know whether we want to accept it or not, but let us start something on the table. I salute the courage of the sect for coming out to demand a negotiation. The content of the negotiation is another thing we can look at later.
You say you do not know why the general has given the statements that he has, but I also want to believe that you've witnessed the elections in this country and you already know that he already feels very embittered about what the process has been like, and that he's been even to the highest court of the land but still isn't satisfied. How can you then, with all the grievance that you hold, you know, negotiate or help the government, as it were, to be successful?
Okay. I would like to point to you, Mope, on this, that one, helping the government to be successful and preventing the more loss of lives and property are two separate things. I am not happy about most of the political process, and I'm sure you have your own submission to them as well. There are several things going on that we think could be better handled. But one thing I just want everyone to know is that Nigeria is a work in progress. Either we like it or not, it's going to take us however long it takes us for us to get to where it's going to be better. But that notwithstanding does not stop me or any individual to do whatever we can do to prevent the loss of lives and property. For all we care, it could be mine or your life, or my loved one's life, or his own loved one's life. Many of the members of the current government and other political parties have counted their losses to terrorism. And I see no reason why it should not take this opportunity to bring something to the table. If I'm in his position, I will do so, regardless of what I feel about the political process. The political process, there was a political process when he took over power in 1983. Nobody was happy about military coming into power then. So he has had his own contribution to how this country is run. For God's sake, he was the one who disrupted the previous political process we had to bring in the military. So he has his own mistakes too. If the government of the day are making mistakes, I would like to point out that it is not good enough reason for us to fold our hands as a Nigerian not to do anything about preventing the loss of lives and properties.